Oh, yeah, good thinking. Nice.
Yeah.
All right, episode 8 of Flow Talks, and this one is going to be all about healing spinal cord injury. So for those of you that don't know, Elena was in a really brutal car accident, and she'll give a quick explanation of that. In what year?
22.
In February of 2022, and she was a Asia B, which is an incomplete spinal cord injury, but as severe of a, incomplete spinal cord injury as you can possibly get, pretty much. And she is walking with arm crutches, and has had an absolutely miraculous recovery. But it's not just a miracle, because it took a ton of hard work and smart planning between her and her community and people around her. So we're diving into how she has done it today. And just for anyone who hasn't heard your story at all, if you want to hear the full story, you can go back to episode 2. And she recounts the whole crash story, and there's a video of the actual crash. But can you just give kind of a quick explanation of what happened to you?
Yeah. Well, again, thanks for the intro. So it was February 7th of 2022, and I was on my way to a doctor's appointment early in the morning, probably 9:30. And I had gone around a semi because I never really liked being around them. And as I went around it, I started trailing behind an SUV, and I drove a lifted Jeep at the time, but I still couldn't see in front of the SUV. And for whatever reason, well, there was a reason, but I didn't know at the time, the SUV in front of me swerved last second because there was a stopped vehicle in the fast lane on this major highway. And I had no time to respond, and I basically, we're probably going 75 miles an hour. I rammed right into the back of it, and it elevated and brought my Jeep up into the middle lane where the semi was, and then the semi hit my undercarriage. And as soon as my Jeep landed on its side, my hardtop popped off, and I got ejected out and landed right next to my Jeep and shattered my L2 and a lot of other things.
Mm-hmm. And you can see in the video, she literally launches out of the Jeep at 70 miles per hour or 65, whatever speed it was, really fast, onto asphalt, and got severely injured. So
truthfully, not as bad as what it could have been, though.
Yeah, I mean, not you're here, so
yeah, exactly.
It's and thank God for that.
Yeah.
But what we want to talk about today is how you went from completely, incomplete injury, but completely paralyzed, no motor movement whatsoever, to walking. So can you start off with, we're going to go through in kind of sections of in the hospital, right when you got out of the hospital, and then your full in-depth protocol of when you really figured out what was going on and how to heal yourself, what you did to get yourself to this, insanely amazing point of being completely paralyzed to walking again. So while you were hospitalized, what different types of things did you do and maybe not do that the doctors were telling you to do to facilitate recovery?
So I think it started when I was in a coma. So I never lost consciousness, but as soon as I got to the hospital, they medically induced me so that I could not cause any more harm by moving around and stuff. So I was in a coma for 6 or 7 days. And during that time, thankfully I have a sister in the medical field who's a nurse who was my advocate and has been in the nursing field for an extended period of time. So she already did major interventions at that point in time, to where I think because of it really helped facilitate recovery down the line. And one of those major interventions was giving me actually real food in my tube feed versus giving me the synthetic things that they provide as food for tube feeds in the hospital. So she would blend up a bunch of food, bring it in, and put it in my tube feed. And then there's also companies outside of what insurance, covers that are that's a real food. So instead of 50 ingredients, it's actually 6 ingredient food. And so she ordered a bunch of those and basically gave me that, and all my electrolytes were good. They gave me bone broth, gave me all of these things to help facilitate recovery, because when we look at food and nutrition, that's one of the most important things when it comes to recovery, especially after injuries and things like that, to where, food is medicine.
So I didn't know anything about this at all, and except for what you mentioned to me earlier. So the food that they normally put into people who are in a coma, any type of coma, unconscious.
Yeah, tube feeds. So enteral tube feeding.
And that food normally is like terrible. Like the food that they give in the hospital that they prescribe is terrible.
Yeah. It does not do any good. There is no healing. There is nothing nutritious about any of the stuff that they put in an enteral tube feed.
Yeah,
I don't care what they say.
You mentioned earlier like corn oil and canola oil and
all of the
corn
seed
syrup
oils
and stuff.
Yeah, all of the seed oils are in there, and those count as the fats. They put the protein that gets in there. It's not animal protein. It's it's casein protein, and then it's whey protein, and then it's also soy.
It's milk proteins, but it's not like actual meat muscle protein.
Right. And then they put high fructose corn syrup, they put glucose, they put sucralose, they put maltodextrin, all of these things that are just fillers. They're fillers.
So gnarly.
Yeah,
and that's your primary food source when your body's trying to heal in its most vulnerable position it's probably ever been in, and they're just mainlining seed oils and sugars and just the things that we are all trying to actively avoid into someone. So your sister, so how much, you weren't there, you weren't awake for it, you were there, but how much pushback did she get from doctors when she said she brought in a bunch of blended up food and bone broth and wanted to dump it into your stomach?
So she didn't get actually any pushback. She ended up asking I think it's the ER doctor or the trauma doctor that was on my case, and she had asked him I'm just curious, I'm allowed to bring blended up food and put it in the tube feed for her, right? And he's like, I've never had anybody ask that, but yeah, you totally can. And then she had asked him, she's like, I'm just curious, would you give your loved ones what they give here? And he also, I think, looked back and was like, I've never been asked that, but no, I wouldn't. And I think that says a lot.
Yeah.
And people don't know this, and so they don't go and do it. And it's super important because, again, food is medicine. And if you can utilize what God's given us to be able to, facilitate healing and recovery, then you should. And it's no different. People will say, oh, well, insurance doesn't cover it. But again, if that person wasn't in a coma, they would be eating dinner with you. They'd be eating lunch with you, or breakfast with you.
And you don't have to necessarily buy the pre-made packs. You can literally just blend up a nutritious whole food meal.
Yeah, and you can do all kinds of superfoods because the person isn't going to taste it. So you can put fucking beets in there and kale and spinach, or any of the things that they probably don't like to eat normally, but it's a superfood. So blend it all up and ginger, things like that. Bone broth, blend it all together with the bone broth. So now that they're getting protein plus all of these really good foods that help a lot of the internal healing and gives you the nutrition that you need.
Yeah, so if your vegan friend or loved one gets into a coma, now's your opportunity. Now's your chance. Blend that ribeye up and get it in there. Some ribeye, some liver. Yeah. Finally get them some
the amino acids you need.
Yeah, so huge opportunity if anyone gets into a coma.
A really big intervention that I think a lot of people don't even know about.
I didn't know anything about it until you mentioned it earlier today. That's crazy. So your healing and recovery journey starts before you're even out of your coma.
Before I even knew what happened.
Yeah, before you even know you've been in a car accident.
Yeah.
Was there any other pre-coma or pre-consciousness interventions that anyone did to you?
Not that I'm aware of. I think that my sister was able to, they had asked, like, why am I running a fever and stuff? And she had said it's probably because she's in a lot of pain, because they're very stingy with pain meds and things like that. It's as if I was a drug addict, even though I just got shot out from a car and, almost died, right? And
are they being stingy while you're unconscious?
Yeah, because she had said that, there were multiple times where I was running a fever and they thought, oh, infection. She's like, no, like, she's in a lot of pain. And then after she like fought for me and they increased my pain meds, then, the fever went away. And she's like, oh, look at that.
They love infections.
Yeah. Oh, it's horrible.
They think everything's an infection. Well, all right. So as far as what you did to recover that's maybe out of the norm, or people wouldn't know to do it, or if they're not at the best hospital system or whatever, when you woke up and became conscious, what was kind of some things you implemented in hospital to start recovering? And I'll include in hospital as in actual hospital and in the recovery the recovery hospital that you went to.
Okay, yeah. So, let me think. When I was in the hospital, I had another friend who's also a nurse, Courtney, and she was running her own IV clinic at the time, mobile IV basically. And so she had all kinds of, she had glutathione, she had B12, like all these shots, and she smuggled all of it in, and that's what she was, she was also helping, take care of some of the load for my, my sister and my family and stuff. And so I was getting, these vitamins and glutathione shots, and this is like what I remember from the hospital. The hospital is still really blurry, but these are just small things that like I can recall. And then when I was in rehab, they kept wanting to, they're like, well, we can get you off the pain meds and we can put you on Gabapentin. So there was a lot of med refusal. Like, I didn't want to do a lot of the medications because thankfully my pharmacy background, I have, knowledge on these things. So there were points where they really wanted to push Gabapentin onto me, and something just didn't sit right with what Gabapentin was, it just didn't sit right with me because I know that it wasn't going to help. And I couldn't articulate it until me and my sister, my sister did a bunch of research and we found a study, which I don't think we can find that study anymore. But this study showed, the NIH had posted it, and the study took 2 groups of lab rats. The control group didn't get Gabapentin, and then the other group got Gabapentin. And they essentially, after a certain amount of time, they put their brains under MRIs, and they saw that the group with Gabapentin ended up not gaining any kind of new neural networks at all. Like, it didn't light up in any kind of way. And then the group that did, or that didn't get it, had like their MRI lit up. And so,
well, it makes sense. It's blocking.
Yeah.
It's supposed to block nerves.
It basically blocks
stuff from going to nerves.
Yeah, it blocks your brain from sensing your nerves. And if we're trying to rebuild neuroplasticity in a spinal cord injury, why would we give somebody something that completely derails that from happening?
Mm-hmm.
And so, finally, after like the 20th time the nurse practitioner came in, I'm like, please stop coming and telling me that I'm, to transfer on a Gabapentin, because I'm not going to do it. So that was one med intervention. And they tried pushing it on to me when, like, before anything, even in the hospital. And thankfully my sister was there saying like, no, like, she doesn't need it. And another med intervention was I kept getting dizzy. I kept getting like super, super dizzy, and they kept saying like, oh, it's AD. Oh, like you have, like, because I had a concussion, I had like the fluid in your ear, like the vestibular stuff. And I'm like, I don't think so. Like, can we look at the meds? And my sister had also said, like, let's look at the meds. And of course, Robaxin was on there, and Robaxin is a muscle relaxer, and a side effect of that is dizziness and like nausea and things like that. And I didn't need it because I wasn't getting muscle spasms, right? So I had said, like, I don't need this because my injury was lower motor neuron injury, so I don't get spasms. I'm just flaccid. I fucking hate that word, but I'm just flaccid. And so they took me off of it, and well, what do you know? Like, I don't have any more. I'm not dizzy anymore, you know. So those were like small adjustments in, you know, from the hospital and rehab, and then also in rehab. That's why it's important to like research these things on your own so that you have a better understanding of what it is that they're doing, because it's not always in line.
They might in their heart have your best interest in mind, but they're
just following the standard.
Yeah, there's just standard protocols, and they do things that are bad for people all the time, and deny things that are great for you. B12 shots, include glutathione shots. I mean, if you need them, you need them, and especially even if they were to give you B12 shots in the hospital, they'd give you cyanocobalamin. They'd give you whatever.
Cobalamin.
Yeah, they'd give you the synthetic version of it. Yeah. And I'm sure that when you got the methylated version brought into you, so you're actually getting, you know, what your body needs. And so you might have to be willing to go outside, you know, color outside of the lines a little bit. And, you know, I don't want to encourage anyone to go like against just doctor's advice if they don't know what they're talking about, but you had good people advising you. Your sister's a nurse practitioner, right? She's
in nurse practitioner school right now, but she's been a nurse for like 18 years.
Yeah, so incredibly knowledgeable. She's helped me a ton. Shout out to your sis, because she's helped me a ton with what I've got going on with these fractures and everything. And so
she's a genius.
Seek outside advice and lots of opinions, because the one hospitalist or doctor that you're talking to might not know what the heck's going on, especially an ER doc or like a hospital doctor with spinal cord injury. It's so specialized. It's so many complications and stuff going on with it.
And it's also such a big unknown. And everybody, the thing with spinal cord injury is everybody's nervous system is different. And so it's really hard to, you know, slap a standard of care onto people when everybody is super individualized.
Yeah, especially with things like nerve pain and everything like that. They have no idea like how much nerve pain you're really experiencing. And so maybe it's, you know, a lot to you, but if you just took a little bit of time to get used to it, it'd be really tolerable, rather than slapping some crazy nerve blocking medication into your regimen every 8 hours for the rest of your, you know, recovery.
Yeah, and I think also accepting from the beginning that you're gonna be in extremely uncomfortable situations, and truthfully, nothing is going to be able to get you out of that discomfort that you think is going to. You just have to you just have to deal with it and find a way to work around it and move through it, versus, you know, finding something with the instant gratification of, oh, this will make me feel better.
There's no pill for it. There's no pill. I've tried for 6 years. I've tried all the pills. There's no pill for pain. There's no pill for suffering. You have to like learn to love the suffering, or be willing to like severely compromise your recovery. It's a huge compromise. 100%.
If you can't deal with the suffering, then on the other side of that is, you know, a compromised recovery. 100%. That's a good way of putting it.
It's always, my buddy Chuck always says, choose your hard. You know, do I want it to be hard now? and endure some pain, or do I want it to be hard later because I stay, paralyzed forever and have all sorts of other complications related to it?
Yeah. No, 100%.
Okay, what about mindset? Because you kind of mentioned, that you had to accept suffering and stuff. So what did you do? What was your mindset like in those first weeks and days and everything? And what did you do to bolster it? What did you, did anyone help you? What was that like? What was it like for mindset?
My support system was incredible, is incredible. They, having constant conversations about perspective and, constantly reminding me that, God has a plan and there's a reason why you're going through all of this and that you're going to get to the other side. These constant reminders of you're going to be okay. And even though sometimes it's really hard to hear that, especially when you're like in the thick of it and it's really fucking shitty, it's nice to know that other people are also feeling like you're going to get to the other side. So that helped out a lot. And in the hospital, I was really up and down for the most part. I was in a lot of pain. So my mindset was just, I don't think it really clicked or it hit me that this is what was happening, because I just woke up one day and I'm like, what the fuck? Like this, what's happening?
So weird.
It's crazy. Like literally 7 whole days passed, right? And I'm thinking I'm just snoozing and everybody's like, having this whole traumatic experience and I'm just fucking asleep, It's crazy. Then when I had my first Asia test, which is what you had talked about in the beginning of the podcast, and
that's like just to determine how paralyzed you are.
Yeah. I didn't, they probably explained it to me, but you're on so much morphine and you're just like, yeah, okay. Like, and then you go to this different room and then they run all these, they ask you to do certain movements and ask you what you can feel and what you can't feel. And, she had asked me to bring my knee to my chest, after, maybe 15, 20 minutes of running through some other things. And then I couldn't. And then that's when I didn't realize how bad it was until that moment. I'm like, whoa, I can't do it. And that's kind of when this black cloud like started coming over me, and it just started like really sitting and making me feel like, whoa, like this is real. This is not just, it's real. This is not a dream anymore, right? Mm-hmm. And from then, I remember asking like every single, PT or OT that came in, like, what are the chances I'm going to walk out of here? What are the chances I'm going to walk out of here? Like, and it was in my head the entire time. Like, there's no way that this is what it is. There's no way that I'm not going to ever be able to walk again. And I just had to keep reminding myself and, making it a mission that the end goal is to get up on my feet again. And so when I was in rehab, again, my support system, incredible. They always were, talking and reminding me that, you are going to walk again. Like, why are you even questioning it? Things like that, like this constant positive reinforcement. And that really helped facilitate a lot of, these neural networks, which, thoughts are patterns. So if you have negative thoughts, it's because you keep feeding this negative pattern that your brain keeps going back to. But if you start interrupting it and start feeding it a different thought, or a more positive thought, then it now starts creating a new pattern. And now these new patterns start developing and coming to where when something triggers what was an old thought, this new thought now comes up and is like, nah, fuck that. That's not what I'm thinking. Like, this is what actually is. And so you just continue repeating that. And that's what I had to do. Like, that was a lot of what rehab was just these continuous thought patterns to, pause them and redirect them.
So, as far as redirecting them, like, is there any tips, tricks, skill? Like, how do you realize that you're in a bad thought pattern? Like,
yeah.
How did you realize then that did you have someone, were you verbalizing it and people were reminding you, like, around you? Or, like, what's an actionable way that someone can, redirect their thoughts? I guess, like, or recognize that they're having a negative thought pattern.
I think becoming aware of your mood throughout the day and what, say, like you're feeling really, really good, and then all of a sudden you don't. And then now you're questioning what happened? What was the switch? And then that gives you a chance to start seeing what you are thinking about. And then when you start realizing what you're thinking about and start seeing that it's not going down, you're going down a spiral that isn't upward, it's downward. Now you can, pause it and replace it with something else.
I totally like get what you mean now, like of just all of a sudden, if you're paying attention to your emotions and your mood, and you all of a sudden, wake up to the fact like, hey, I'm really sad right now, then kind of retrace your steps and be like, what thoughts were happening to get me here?
Reverse engineering.
Yeah. No, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's really, really good. So what, as far as time in the hospital goes, like with mindset and with physical interventions and everything, like what would you have done differently? Or what would you do if like someone called you and was like, my friend just got paralyzed and what do we do? Like, what are some things that you think would help right away?
Like key takeaways or things that I know now that I didn't know then that I would implement? Yeah,
things that the second one that you didn't know then, but now.
Truthfully, I mean, the only thing that I would have done differently is I wish I would have recorded and documented more of my journey to really have like a really good layout to be able to then share later on and not have my ego get in the way of, what was happening. Even though I was really out of it and there's no way that I could really have done much of anything. But if I was more, if I had that awareness to know what the future was potentially going to hold, that, maybe documenting now could be somebody else's, blueprint, right? I do think that I would have done that differently. But as far, I do think a lot of the things, thankfully, that my sister and my friends and, my significant other at the time and my family and everybody, like the whole village, I think we did the best that we could with what we had. And I don't know if I would have done anything differently because of how the outcome is now.
Were you nutrition in hospital on point, supplements, anything like that, peptides?
I guess I would have, now that you're bringing up peptides, I would have implemented peptides way sooner. I would have had somebody like as soon as I woke up from the coma been like injecting me right then and there. Versus wait. I mean, I waited some time, once I got home and stuff, but I would have done it like right away. I would have tried to honestly, if you can, I would get it as soon as you get into the ER and you're stable, right? I think that is a prime time because
I agree completely.
You need all the healing stuff that you can in saturated in the areas that are hurt to be able to, really recover.
Yeah, consult with a functional medicine doctor or some sort of integrative doctor that's, or any doctor that's up, caught up on the times.
Or even your gym bros.
Yeah, not your ER doctor for sure. You're going to have to smuggle these ones in. But get medical advice or I guess ChatGPT at this point and take some peptides as soon as possible. I've had tremendous benefits from BPC-157 for sure and TB-500. Those are the ones that I know for sure.
Yeah.
Like helped me heal wounds and stuff on my body. So I had such incredible damage done to muscle tissues and soft tissues. I think it would have been a gigantic help. And I'm sure there's a lot of peptides on that list. And I would just say nutrition and supplementation. Like if you're eating hospital food, there's no way you're getting like an ideal diet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I wasn't eating any hospital food, and I had, again, my family and the people around me bringing me food and blending me smoothies and doing all of these things so that I was getting the nutrition needed to be able to recover.
Which is, I mean, that's a luxury. Not everyone who's spinal cord injured is going to have
most definitely
that kind of support. I had tremendous support, but I was injured in Denver, and all my family and friends and everyone were flying in to visit. So any food that they were bringing me was from they brought me tons of bomb food from restaurants and stuff like that, but it wasn't like someone could bring me home cooked meals, which is ideal. Usually if you're a loved one that's hurt, or if you're hurt, try to get someone to bring you some home cooked meat and potatoes and vegetables, because it's just different. The hospital food is completely deplete of anything good. It's so you can taste that it's not nutritious. It's just the cheapest, worst version of everything that they give you.
It really is. Another thing I also did was I avoided sugar for a really, really long time.
Nice.
I mean, I ate like fruit and stuff, like natural sugars, but I didn't. Aside from like really, really wanting Steak and Shake when I was in the hospital, I didn't, for whatever reason. It's probably because of all of the narcs I was on. I avoided sugar for a really, really long time. I think probably for like a year, like a little over a year.
That's awesome. I wish that if I could rewind, I wish that's something that I did. I was all right. I avoided it. I didn't gorge like I normally would want to, but yeah, I wish I had avoided sugar more. I think that probably, I think that alone could have made like a significant difference in how you healed. I know that, super spiking your blood glucose levels like zaps nerve healing. You don't have to worry about that. You can let it drop down.
You sure?
Yeah, it sounds fine. Okay. Yeah, as long as it's not bothering you.
No.
That sounds totally fine. All right. Well, so your hospital stay was pretty brief because insurance kicked you out of the rehab hospital after 21 days. How long were you in the normal hospital?
I think I was there for 3.5 weeks.
Okay. So about 40 days, 42, 43 days total hospitalized. So basically 6 weeks, and you're out, you're on your own. Yeah. Figure out how to be spinal cord injured and have your entire life flipped upside down. So what did you do straight out of the gate to start healing or recovery? Did you do anything? Was there a lag period before you were able to start doing things that really moved the needle towards being able to walk again?
Yeah, well, when I came home, it was really just transitioning into this new life. So I came home in a power wheelchair. I came home with a Hoyer, and it was really like learning all of these things, which is all part of the recovery process. And it probably, and
is a Hoyer lift they didn't put it in your ceiling? It's like
it's like one where like you what's it called? It's like you go
like a cherry picker to take like a car engine out.
Yeah, that's literally what it is. Yeah. And so then I had to teach friends how to, use it to get me from my, hospital bed at the house and into my power wheelchair. It was just a lot of, adapting and learning. And I think what I really focused on then was eating. So, again, I have such amazing friends, and they were able, I've had friends that, meal prepped for me. And so I had food, ready to go. And, when I had also gotten home, I then, as soon as I could, I started peptides. Mm-hmm. And I did, thankfully, my ex, he was able to, get a regimen and stuff for me. And we, as soon as we figured it out, we ordered them. And I basically went through a vial a week of BPC-157 for 4 weeks and a vial a week of TB-500 for 4 weeks. Took a break.
So a vial being like 10 milligrams?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're doing a high dose.
Yeah. Yeah. So I completely saturated the areas. I think I did TB-500 first and then BPC, and then I took a break, and then I repeated that same cycle. And I did that like right in the beginning. So once I was through with those, at the same time as that was all happening, I started working out in the garage. So I was still in a C-collar, still in my power wheelchair, and I was in diaper, like, still having my friends cath me, my ex cath me, basically being really helpless, but like, I gotta lift some weights.
Really? That's
Yeah.
so crazy. That's awesome.
And I even asked when I went to the neuro, I even had said, can I lift weights? And they had said, yeah. I'm like, I can do like shoulder press and like lift overhead. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And so that's what I did in my C-collar. I just went straight for what I knew I needed to do, was to like get some muscle back onto my bones, because I was 140 pounds the day of the accident. I came home, and my ex, he picked me up, and he walked over to the the scale, and I'm pretty sure he like fibbed it, because later on he was like, yeah, like you were 103 pounds, but I didn't want to make you feel like you really lost that much weight, so I said you're like 106, and I'm like, oh, okay.
That's crazy. So you lost
I lost like 37 pounds,
like a third of your body weight almost.
Yeah, my legs, they were gone. Like, my legs atrophied to skin and bones so fast that it was mind-blowing to me. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. It was horrible. And so I knew, like, my gut was telling me I have to get muscle back on, and the only way I'm going to do that is if I start going back and doing what I know how to do, which was lifting weights and, getting my heart rate up the best that I could, and, start implementing things that, I know that I'm good at. And it made me feel better about myself too, which I think we have to find things, especially when something so detrimental happens, that, makes us feel good about ourselves again. And lifting weights and being in the sun and being around good people are my favorite things. So those are what I prioritized.
How was your self-talk during that time period? Like, during the first couple months out of the hospital, like, how did you talk to yourself to like facilitate having the energy and drive to do what needed to be done?
I was like, this is who I am. There's nothing that's gonna rip me away from the things that is really what my identity is. Granted, there were really horrible times where it's like, oh my God, we get so attached to our physical body that it's like you don't know what you're looking at in the mirror, and you don't know who you are looking at old pictures, and there's all of these things running through. But it's always, again, where I talked about it earlier, the G.P.S, the internal G.P.S. And so I think we have this internal G.P.S, just like in cars and stuff, that we're on a certain path that gets us to wherever it is that we want to go to. And every once in a while, it like reroutes us. And it's like, oh, we got to go on this, what's that called?
Bypass?
A side quest.
Oh, side quest.
Or, dang, I can't think of the word. But basically, it gets you off track for a little bit before you can find your way back. And the G.P.S, is an acronym for gratitude, perspective, and service. And I had to continuously remind myself because in the beginning, it's like you're in the thick of it, and it's really horrible, and it's really sad. And so you have to find ways to get you back on track, get you navigated and back on the main road. And the G.P.S is gratitude, perspective, and service. And so I asked myself, okay, like, I always reminded myself, what do I have right now that, I should be really thankful for? And I just kept reminding myself of those things. I kept reminding myself I have a family, I have friends, I have a support system. I'm alive when I probably shouldn't be. I have a God that I get to serve that's amazing and really leading the way. So all of these things, right, that's what like was really fueling me to be like, I'm here and I get to do all of these things, and I need to take advantage of that. Mm-hmm. And then perspective is, okay, well, how can I look at my situation to really put it in a way that's serving me? and serving not just me, but serving people. And that brings us to S, which is service. And so how can I bring what's happened and now be of service to other people? And that was when, I started, talking about it online and really seeing, the response back to me of like, whoa, like you're inspiring, you're making me do this when I don't want to do this, all of these things. And it started helping me find purpose in the things that I was going through. And I just kept telling myself like, okay, like this part isn't going to be forever. And I know that if I continue working through it and, putting forth the effort, I'm going to get to the other side. And if I choose to not go through it, I'm going to still be here. And so I might as well give myself the chance to see if I can get to the other side. And so that's basically what I was doing the entire time. I mean, granted, like I said, we have really, really bad days. And then that's when, you're crying to your friends and they keep telling you like, reinforcing the positive patterns of it's okay. Like you're doing everything that you can and there's no reason that you need to be scared because God's got you. And everything is happening exactly as the way that it's supposed to, and that there's going to be a much greater reason to, all of this.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the biggest mistakes I made, is not crying to my friends, is just not reaching. Wait, what is that?
I think it's just my chair.
Oh, it's hitting my chair.
Yeah.
There, let's lock it so it doesn't.
There you go.
Sweet. But that was one of my biggest mistakes, is not reaching out to people when I was hurting and sad and scared. And even I lived with my ex at the time, and she, I put way too much of it on her, but I didn't even tell her. I tried to just put a brave face on and be strong, and it's not the right way. Cry to your friends, tell people when you're hurting, ask for help, get people around you that give you the advice that there's a God and that he's got you, because if you don't have that to lean back on, you're going to be in trouble with
something. You're going to be fighting it alone.
Yeah, and you can't fight the devil in the dark.
No, you can't.
It's just, so, man, that's incredible. You're a badass. You really are.
Thanks.
Seriously.
I appreciate that. It's been a hell of a journey. I mean, I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. I mean, it's just a lot. And you have to be okay with being vulnerable during this time and allowing things that really hit your ego. I mean, I had to allow my friends to stick their finger in my asshole. And like, they know, otherwise, like, I don't, that is just such a hard, like, I don't even have words for it, right? Like, it's just,
it's vulnerable, that's for sure.
Like, there are just things that you have to be okay with that, for the time being, because that's just what it is. And thankfully, if you have really good friends that do that, I mean, bless their hearts. I did, and I'm so thankful and fortunate for them. And I mean, they know that, but it's, it is a lot, and it does put a toll on, one's identity and how you, especially if you're super independent and you lived life a certain way, and then all of a sudden now you got to ask your friends, like, hey, like, can you, until you fucking learn how to do it yourself. But like, I mean, that was just what it was in the beginning, and it was a lot.
I mean, that's one of my things that I struggle with most now, is the S in that, is, suddenly feeling like I'm asking, so much of the other people, and that I need so much help. I don't feel like I'm serving anyone. And before I was injured, I felt like I could serve so easily, just physically, just helping people out. Yeah. Can you move my couch? Can you, whatever. I was just, even if I was at their house, you
were the go-to
friend. Just being able to help with the dishes. Now no one wants you to help with anything. I mean, you have to really force your way in there.
Yeah.
Because for understandable reasons, because if my friend was in a wheelchair and they were trying to do anything, I'd be like, stop it, you're not doing anything. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Number one, it's just ruthlessly inefficient, and I'm suffering watching you do it, because I could do it in half the time.
Right.
Or 10 times faster, usually, like exponentially less time. So early on, I guess, early on and as time went on, how did you grapple with that, being of service to people? I know you said like posting stuff online and everything, but did that fulfill that? Just because I haven't done it, so I'm asking, like, did it fulfill that that desire to serve?
Truthfully, no, and I still grapple with that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because I was also the friend that people would call like, hey, you want to help me? Yeah, I'm there. Or you don't even have to ask for help. I'm already there, right? And now it's, I can do it myself, I promise. It's just going to take me a minute, you know what I mean? But like, you don't have to help me, I promise. I swear. Mm-hmm. You just got to be a little bit more patient, that's it. Mm-hmm. So I do still grapple with that. But I think, going into this coaching space and being able to like talk to people and have these, really vulnerable conversations and be able to guide and lead in a way that maybe I was able to do it before, but now I have this story behind me that people actually put credibility to my name because I've been through some fucking shit, right? And it's sad that we have to go through some shit for people to hear what you have to say, but some of us have to take one for the team, and if that's what we have to do, then that's what we have to do.
Yeah, you do learn an incredible amount by being just spinal cord injured or having like a severe traumatic accident. You learn a lot about human nature, about mindset, especially, and perspective, and how to you learn a lot. You do become valuable in a really
unique way.
Yeah, in a really, really unique way. And you provide tremendous value to me in just talking about mindset. And when I was hospitalized and everything, just telling me, how to think about the outcome and everything, or not to think about the outcome rather, and just, think about the, what I'm going through minute by minute, and then also just real life advice on nutrition and how to talk to the doctors and all sorts of stuff. So it does lend just an incredible amount of empathy and everything to a person, makes it, easier to communicate it. Because that's been my biggest thing, is it completely shook my sense of
identity.
Yeah, my identity, and just sense of like my sureness about what's going on. Like I was so confident, it shook my confidence, and I just had like a solid perspective and worldview, as flawed as it was, that I was, willing to stick to, kind of. And this just like shattered some of that for me. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
it does.
It led to me devaluing myself and not feeling like I have anything to offer other people. Whereas before I had like the exact opposite. I had like delusions of grandeur and like thought I had more to offer. Like now I actually have something to offer. Before I had very little to offer. I had you had
your physical body to offer.
Yeah, and now, but I would have thought back then that I had more to offer, as far as like, verbal help or whatever goes. But what else did you do, kind of in that, not your final protocol and stuff, but what else did you do in the first year or so to like push yourself forward? When did you become the Elena that I know, like working out, super intensely and hard, and like, being on point with meal prep and nutrition and everything?
So I've always been like that. the accident took a little detour. That's the word I was looking for. Detour. The accident put me on a little detour to where I had to like figure out how to do these things again, but in this new body, I guess you could say. So if we're talking about the G.P.S, my G.P.S was telling me like I got to get lifting and stuff again, and I got to put on some weight because I was skin and bones, and there's no way I'm going to be strong enough if I don't, put some weight on to me. So I dove into SARMs, which are selective androgen receptor modulators, which selectively bind to specific androgen receptors in your body to help facilitate muscle growth while maintaining a lean physique. So I did 2 separate SARMs, Ostarine and Ligandrol. I don't know, I wouldn't recommend doing them mainly because they are really harsh on your liver. My liver did take a little, like a hit where I still deal with elevated liver enzymes now.
Still?
Yeah. Like
really? How long did you do them for?
I did them, I want to say like maybe 12 weeks. I don't think not super long.
Oh, that's crazy. I knew that.
Yeah,
SARMs...
I mean, granted, it was, I'm not like, they were just I think my ALT was in like the 200s, which is a lot for your liver. But I did gain like 15 pounds, and it made me feel good about, where I was at with training and stuff. And then 2 months post accident is when I started going to rehab, and then so I started going to PT at Brooks, but near my house. And my PT, my sister had already told me about CORE, which CORE is now the rehab place that Bridger and I had met and that we still go to.
And just to clarify real quick, the difference is like physical therapy is with a physical therapist, and it's under the insurance model. A place like CORE, if you want to find a place near you or a similar place, it's activity-based training, and they're basically personal trainers who have college degrees in kinesiology usually and have certifications like neurospecialty certifications. Yeah,
it's a good way of putting it. And so my sister had already, told me about CORE, and then my PT, after working with her, which shout out to Denny because Denny was incredible. She had said after a few sessions, I think you're a really good candidate to go to CORE, and I think you should really go and check it out. And so then I told my dad went and checked it out, and he came back and he's like, that's the place you gotta go. It's exactly meant for you. And so I had to hire a caregiver and stuff. And we ended up, I had to get of course my caregiver was with me. Shout out to Robin. Robin is also super cool. Love that lady. She took me to the PT, and then, I started at CORE 3 days a week. And then I bumped it up to 4 days a week once I got accepted into their foundation program and got their scholarship. So then I was able to do...
And how many hours
per day? I was doing 2 hours a day, and then...
So 8 hours per week of activity-based training.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
Yeah, it's super huge. And then I would arrive an hour early, and I would hop on the FES bike, and I would bike. In the beginning, I did like 7-8 miles, and then I slowly teetered that down to where I was doing 3.5 like consistently. But I mean, that happened after like 3 years. Then like the last 6 months have been like a teeter of just like 2.5, 3.5 miles, mainly because I just couldn't manage my time. So that I think was also a huge factor in my recovery, because it helped me gain some muscle on my legs, and it also helped me get my heart rate up. And I went from, so on the FES bike, it shows like your output based off of how much you are pushing. And in the beginning, it was 0. Like I had 0 output. And I slowly got all the way up to, I think when I ended, it was at like 60. Being able to...
That's so cool.
Crazy.
So like...
With resistance, going up to like 10, starting at like 0.5, and now resistance at 10.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
Thanks. Yeah.
That's so cool. So just so especially if someone has a fresh spinal cord injury or something like that, or knows someone with a spinal cord injury, or even if they're way post injury and they're just wanting to like heal. The difference between activity-based training and PT. Like, can you kind of dive into that a little bit?
Yeah. So PT was more functional based. So let me show you how to transfer from a chair to your wheelchair. Let me show you how to get from the ground into your wheelchair, or from your wheelchair to the ground. All of these, more functional things that rehab didn't teach me, because I was pretty useless in rehab, but my expectation was that they were going to teach me, but they didn't. So they're just like, okay, fend for yourself, basically. So PT
didn't teach you how to transfer. That's insane.
No, because I had one, you couldn't really touch me in the beginning. I was hyperalgesic, so I had to yell at nurses to only open palm touches. Your fingertips really hurt.
What? Really?
Yeah. From my waist down, when they had to move my legs and stuff around.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
That was
that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's
that lasted. It was so horrible, because especially when they come in the middle of the night to try and cath you, and you're just like, fuck, you know what I mean? And they move you the wrong way. Or I remember screaming. They Hoyer lifted me one time, and I remember screaming so loud I probably traumatized the poor little the poor nurse assistant that was helping.
It feels like someone just tasing you or something.
Yeah, it was horrible.
I have one spot right here
that's super sensitive.
Still, what did you call it?
Hyperalgesic.
It's super sensitive, and it's not as sensitive now, but it's still pretty sensitive. And if cold water hits it, or someone pokes me there, or something, a burn. It's just like an electric shock.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, every once in a while,
sensitive.
the top of my thighs still get that. It's weird. It doesn't happen all the time, but every once in a while it still is. And I'm like, whoa, that's weird. My hand is hurting me. It's super weird. So what was I?
PT versus activity-based training.
Yeah. So then so that was what PT was. So it was getting me to stand, being in a standing frame, doing overhead things, and really just kind of feeding me into what life in a wheelchair is going to be, but also working on just being able to function a little bit more with a wheelchair. Whereas activity-based training, I went in there and I'm ready to work out. I'm ready to walk. I'm ready to do the things. I don't need you to tiptoe around me. You can shove me around. You can do whatever. I just want to be able to, get a good workout in and be able to start working towards my goals. So that we set these goals, and now, no insurance isn't there to say you can't do these things. So we have free range to really go balls to the wall with ABT. And that's what I really loved about Core, is they really listened to what I wanted to do. I'm really observant in the things that they did in the beginning, and of course it was not that it's a standard at all, but they have a way of doing things in a certain sequence that allows you to start progressing in a very upward way. And so that's what we started off doing, and then of course, like I said, I'm really observant. So as they were doing things, my mind's now starting to go where I'm now actively a part of my training program where, hey, I know what I can do and what I think I'm capable of. Can we try doing this? And they say, yeah, let's do it. And so it's just actively working together to come up with the best plan that helps facilitate your goals, but also allowing them to be able to, help in whatever way they can with what you need if you can't do it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in my experience between physical therapy and I've been to a couple activity-based training spots. I've been to one in Colorado and then Core. And the main difference is people at a good activity-based training gym believe you can walk again.
Yeah.
Even me, a complete extremely damaged spinal cord, complete T10 paraplegic, they just have the mindset maybe it's possible, and we're going to try to make it happen, which is a completely different mindset the PT has. They're just trying to not make you degrade. They're basically just trying to make you maintain and maybe little incremental improvements in how you feel and everything. and posture and stuff, but they're not trying to make you walk again, realistically, unless you're at a PT that I don't know about.
Right. I mean, this is very true. Thankfully, like my PT that recommended core, she really went out of her way and brought up a test, and she had said, she's like, there's a test out there that we could do that'll give you a percentage of, saying whether or not you're going to walk again. If you're interested to like just do it. And I had said,
cool. What test?
Yeah. Oh man, I wish I knew what the test name was.
What kind of? I mean,
it wasn't like a computer test or anything. It was.
Well,
no, I know. I'm just.
You got a 6. You got a C. You're never gonna walk again.
That's funny you say that. Okay, so it was asking kind of like the Asia test where you ask certain questions and then you test certain skills, either motor or sensory, things like that. And based off of my results at that point in time, this is still in the first year, after we did it, she had said, so after we did everything, it comes out to that 73%. And like, how does that make you feel? And I remember looking at her and I was like, C is passing, and that was my motto in pharmacy school, pharmacy. So I think we're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Oh man, if someone gave me a 15% chance of walking again, I'd be like, that means, I have to beat 80, I just have to be better than 85% of other people that have taken this test. Like, I can work harder than them.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was enough for me. I mean, 1% would have been enough for me to still take the chance on myself. And I say that because I remember hearing listened to this podcast, and this lady, Amberly Lago, her story is also really crazy. Not that she has a spinal cord injury, but she almost lost her leg in a car accident, and she woke up from also a medically induced coma, and they were like, you have a 1% chance of keeping your leg. And she's like, that's all I need. I just need 1%. And they found a limb salvage doctor, and she got to save her leg, and she's walking, and she does deal with complex regional pain syndrome, which is a really horrible nerve pain disorder now because of everything. But she is now, speaking, and I've talked to her several times actually. And, now she speaks and she's coaching, and she was also, she was a Nike athlete when that happened, like all of these things. So it really I cried my eyes out when I listened to the podcast. I'll have to send it to you.
Yeah, please do. That sounds cool.
We'll have to link it in the show notes so other people can listen to it too. But it really, her whole thing also was like gratitude and perspective and things like that. So it just really resonated, all of the things that she was saying. But her whole thing was like, they can tell me 1%, and like 1% is all you need. 0.1% is all you need. Mm-hmm. That it's like the mustard seed of faith, right? Like,
yeah, and if they give you 0%, then just talk to another doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. And you gotta just have the belief in yourself you just have to go for it, because you never know.
You never know. And my whole thing is, I was surrounded by really good doctors, went to Craig Hospital Rehab, which is like the best rehab ever. I literally think it's one of the best, or like, I think it's the best spinal cord injury rehab like in the world, or like maybe there's one other one that's like battles for the top spot. And so I never had any doctors tell me, everyone said, I don't know, but you're like as spinal cord injured as pretty much a person can get. So just, you take it with a grain of salt. Take that and do what you will with it. But my whole thing was, even if, by today's standards, I'm not going to be able to walk again. Medical advancements might be coming, and I want to maintain my body in, some sort of condition where I'm going to be able to take advantage of those, which if you let all of your muscle completely atrophy off your legs because you don't do functional electrical stimulation or standing or, something, then just because, something can heal your spinal cord injury in the future doesn't mean you'll be able to walk again. Right. Your bones could just snap and break, and there's no muscles to even send the signal to. So you got to maintain your body, and you'll just feel so much better. It's not, I can't imagine it feels good to just have your legs, wither away completely. Because I saw when I was staying at Craig Hospital, there's tons of people that go there for like reevaluations and come, interact and give talks, and there's peer mentors and stuff. There's people that have had long-term spinal cord injuries that come in there all the time, and you see them around. And I saw numerous people where it looked like their skin was saran wrap over the top of a bone. Like you could almost see like the metatarsals in their foot. That's
how I looked when I came home.
Seriously?
That's how I was skin and bones. Yeah, that's how my legs were. It was horrible.
That's terrifying.
It was. I was so horrible. It was a nightmare. It was really bad.
Yeah, I've been lucky that I have, because as you said, your legs are flaccid.
Yeah.
Mine are erect, I guess, because they have spasms, and so I was able to maintain like quite a bit of muscle mass, and because I wouldn't want, like, my legs have gotten really skinny now because this is the first time that I haven't been doing FES bike. My leg spasms haven't been too bad, so like this is the skinniest they've ever been, and I don't like it at all. And they still look like almost normal legs.
Yeah I mean, it really does make a difference. And going back to what you had said about maintaining your bodies so that you're able to really capitalize on advancements that do come up in the future, I think that's really important for people to really take away, because we want these advancements to come so that we have the opportunity to be able to take advantage of them. But if you're not preparing for the opportunity when it comes, how are you ever supposed to be able to utilize it and do it if you're not even prepping yourself for that chance of it happening?
Yeah, and the preparation is trying to walk again. That's what your body needs, is all the exercises, the standing, the functional electrical stim exercises, and mobility, and obviously
in whatever way that you can, right? And just continuing getting blood flow and circulation and just movement, right? Because just as food is medicine, movement is also medicine. The more that we can help facilitate our body to do that, the more that it kind of starts waking up and remembering, and you're trying to build these neural pathways so that it does have that chance to recover and get to where it is that you want it to get to, and also believing that it's going to get there, and knowing that if you're doing what you need to be doing, that it will get there. It's just a matter of continuing to do it, no matter how hard it fucking gets, because it does get hard, and it's tiring, and it's exhausting. And I've had people in the spinal cord injury community tell me, I don't know if I can do it. And I'm like, yeah, you can do it. You have to do it, because what other choice do you have by not giving yourself the chance?
Just don't think that over. Stop thinking that.
Yeah.
Just there's tons of
redirect
times
that thought pattern
where I've thought, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And then, I might have thought that for an hour or 2 hours, maybe multiple days, who knows? But at some point you come to the conclusion, well, I have no fucking choice. It's either rot and be miserable and just keep saying, I can't do it, or just say, I can do it, and get to fucking work. You have to. You got to get to work. It sucks. It's hard. I've done so many difficult things in my life, and nothing even compares. The hardest day I ever had before I was spinal cord injured was so much fucking easier than the easiest day I've ever had after injury. Like, so much easier.
Yeah. So that's why, and even for non-spinal cord injury people that are listening to this, just as you said earlier with Chuck saying choose your heart, I just made a post about it from, me being without a wheelchair for a week, and crying about this, how much we lose the simplicity of things, and how I was crying about things that we take so much for granted, being able-bodied, right? That it's really funny to hear people that say it's really hard to wake up early and go get exercise, or it's really hard to take 30 minutes to walk, and it's like, choose your fucking hard, man. I don't know. Like, choose the hard that you want to deal with right now, because sometimes life is just going to hand you a plate of, here you fucking go.
Yeah.
And then you're stuck with that hard, and I swear that hard is so much worse than doing the little hard things in your day-to-day now to help you get to wherever it is you want to go. Same thing with also spinal cord injury, because it could be always so much worse and so much harder. Granted, there are the people, don't get me wrong, that have it really, really fucking hard, but you can still find the good in it, and to help you get to the other side of whatever it is.
Yeah, and don't make it about like for me, when all the times that I felt like I don't know if I can do it, I was thinking about the future. I was thinking about how many things, having to do this every day, and how many things I need that I couldn't get. Like I can't get an FES. I can't FES. Can't do whatever. I can't get activity-based training right now because there was, I got a tremendous care at Craig Hospital, but then a couple weeks after I got out, COVID shutdown happened. Then I moved up to the mountains in Idaho, where I was way away from any physical therapy or any sort of, gym or anything like that. And I had to improvise and do stuff at home. Luckily, I had a standing frame, and I got a loan through some government program to buy a FES bike, and paid it off. Paid it off. It was super dope. Paid it off slowly over time. But you just have to improvise and just do whatever you can do in the next moment, not think about all of the things that you could potentially be doing.
Right, and being present with what is right now.
Because that was a big hindrance for me for a long time, is thinking there was just so much to do. Like I need to get activity-based training. I need to stand. I need to walk for this amount of time. And it seems there's so much.
Overwhelming.
Because there is just, realistically, to heal a spinal cord injury of any description, Asia, B through D, you're going to need to work for hours per day. You're going to have to put the work in, and it is overwhelming if you think about all of it, but just do what you can do for the next 1 minute. Like, what can I do for the next minute? That I even had to think that, the other day, because I was, for the last, weeks, I've been struggling to get out of bed. Like I've just been exhausted between getting off the testosterone and just this injury that I have going on. I've been barely able to, get my ass out of bed. And I kept having to tell myself that, just get up, and because I would be in bed thinking about how hard it was going to be to do whatever I needed to do next. And I was like, just 1 minute. You need to get up first, and then 1 minute you need to do that. And once you get going, you get momentum, and it's it's better. So let's get back to other things you did, because I really want to know.
Really quick on that though.
Oh yeah.
When in the beginning, something that I always referred back to was, people are just take it day by day, and it was not day by day. It was moment by moment. I took it moment by moment, because just like you said, it's just all overwhelming, and it's all hard, and your identity is totally smashed in pieces, and you have to, really navigate a lot of feelings and emotions and rediscover who you are. And that just takes a lot outside of the SCI stuff. It's just also a lot of deep inner work that you really also have to take moment by moment, because it can be way more than what you ever thought.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't take it moment by moment, then you're gonna go down a really dark place that, again, puts you in a spiral and not upward.
Yeah, no, it's super, super easy to spiral, and it was easy for me to spiral before I ever had a spinal cord injury, but I had so many ways to escape it, healthy and unhealthy. But when I was laying in bed and exhausted before injury, I could just shake my head and jump up and be like, I'm going for a run, I'm going for a walk. But when you have to roll to the side and claw to lift yourself up, and then lift my legs over the side of the bed, and then pull my chair into place and then transfer into the chair. You know, it's hard. Sometimes it's genuinely hard when you're completely able-bodied to pull your ass out of bed. When that's the first step, it's incredibly hard. Like, it's really, really difficult. So, you know, if you're spinal cord injured, give yourself some grace. And if you're not, get your fucking ass up. Stop being a pussy.
For real.
But I really want to get into like what else you did, because you're literally walking again. It's miraculous. It's badass. What we kind of stopped at, you started going to core 4 times a week.
So 8 hours, the FES bike, also 4 hours a week, basically. In total, I've probably done over 2,000 miles on the bike.
And so walk someone through what your, day of, like, do an A and B. A day where you have physical therapy, where you're going to core and exercising, and B, like a day when you're just on your own, but like, oriented towards healing.
Yeah. So in the first year, I would wake up, I would do a garage workout. Well, actually, I wouldn't say maybe the first. Yeah, no, it was the first year. I would do a garage workout, and just kidding. Let me backtrack. In the first year, I had a caregiver that would come and, pick me up, and we would go to core, and I would be there for 3 hours, 3.5. And then, so I would hop on the FES bike, and then I would do 2 hours of activity-based training. So whether it was gait training or if it was, floor work or basically things to help start waking my legs up.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but wait, backtrack a little bit more. So you wake up. I want to know what like your whole day looks like, how you get yourself,
like
how
in the first year or now?
In the first year, and then we'll do now.
Okay.
I want to know everything, because you've accomplished what everyone who has a spinal cord injury wants to accomplish. So I just want to get granular and know.
Okay. So I would wake up. My caregiver would wake me up because she would come really early, and she would cath me, help me get ready to go on for the day. I would eat some breakfast, and usually I think at that point in time I was doing Jimmy Dean bowls, breakfast bowls with maybe like a yogurt or something, and then I would just hop right into the van, and then we would go to core. That was my whole entire. Yeah, that was for a really long time. That's how it was on rehab days. On non-rehab days, I did a workout in the garage. I didn't do, so like upper body stuff. It wasn't, activity based where like I could be on the ground. Eventually I worked my way to like trying to do stuff on the ground, but it was very seldom and far from, being consistent. And, so my ex, he had set up cables in the garage, like super jerry-rigged everything, but enough for me to get a good workout in and be able to, lift some weights and start putting on some muscle. And from then after rehab, I would come home. I would eat in the car. I would heat up my food. My caregiver would heat up my food at core. I would eat on the way home. And then by the time I got back, shower, which for a long time I had to get carried into the shower because of the way things were set up to where I wasn't able to transfer yet. And then once I got into a manual chair, then I was able to, wheel in there and transfer onto it myself, where then I was finally, able to be more independent. But in the beginning, either my friends had to carry me or, my ex had to carry me. And so that was post-rehab. And then on non-rehab days, I would take my power chair, and I would go down to like this water area, and I'd watch like sunset and stuff, and I would have a devotion, and I would read parts of it, and I would just like really just sit with myself and be present with where I was at, and just trying to be put in a parasympathetic system and a parasympathetic state versus, life is very chaotic at this point in time. And so being able to go into a parasympathetic state is important because that allows your nervous system to heal. Whereas if you're constantly stressed out and you have high cortisol levels, it's extremely difficult. So that was a big priority for me. And then I would, I'd go back. I would, scoot way or, chair back and, be in for the night. And at one point in time, I ordered a meal prep company, and so I would just have like food already prepped out and eat dinner and then wind down and then repeat the next day. And
how was what time were you typically going to core?
I think 2 to 4. So I would.
So you're a bit of a night owl. Like, were you sleeping in a lot at the time?
Yeah. Well, so in the beginning there, I also had like appointments and stuff where like I'd go to appointments and then I would go to core. And then I think even at one point in time I would go to PT and then I would go to core. Mm-hmm. So I was doing multiple things throughout the day to, keep me up and running.
What was your sleep like? Like, did you have?
My sleep was fine. I mean, I was taking a benzo at the time to be able to fall asleep.
Which one?
Lorazepam, Ativan.
Oh, really? And how long did you take that for?
I think once I moved out of the place that I was at, so I was basically living in the basement and there was no sunshine coming in, and then I started not getting good sleep because my circadian rhythm was like super off. I'd wake up and then it would just be darkness. And then I would go outside and then it would be sunlight. But then at nighttime, it was just, you go inside and at like 6 o'clock and it's just dark. So my circadian rhythm was like totally fucked. But then once I moved out of there and I'm in the house that I'm at now, I was able to, like, I don't have to take it anymore. And so it was fine. It like regulated itself.
A crazy drug to prescribe for sleep. I mean, it knocks you out. I was taking Ambien in the beginning.
That one's wild.
Every now and then, yeah. And it was, because my sleep's terrible. Really, yeah. That's why I asked about it, is because I know sleep is like such an important part of healing, and my sleep since I've been paralyzed has been just an abomination. It's so atrocious. Just because I was waking up in pain so much. And I tried Ambien when I was taking like mega doses of oxycodone as well and opiates, which helped, but I still couldn't even sleep, even like mega dosing opiates right before bed, or not right before bed, a few hours before bed, because it keeps you awake for a little bit and then drops off. But Ambien was just terrible. It gave you
Ambien's wild.
Yeah, it gets so weird.
Yeah. And there's like people say that you like sleepwalk and stuff and you don't remember anything.
Well, I would be so hungover the next day from it. I was fucking exhausted. I was I slept for 12 hours, but I'm far more tired than if I just had gotten 4 hours of sleep. Yeah, it's a terrible drug.
Yeah.
And I tried benzos at one point. I was prescribed them and got them illicitly, and
we love transparency.
Yeah, and it was super ineffective as well, in the sense that it was just like it made me pass out, but it just like was a full blackout, and I would wake up and I would be rested and not like dead groggy like Ambien, but I didn't feel.
It'd be like a brain fog.
Yeah, like a fog was over the whole day for sure.
Yeah, I mean, every once in a while I'll take one if I'm like really like strung out and stuff, and the next day like I have brain fog and I'm like, oh, of course, like that's the price you pay.
Yeah, that's what I like it though, because I do feel less anxious the next day.
Oh, well, that's good.
Like I just feel not anxious, I guess. I just feel like a chill brain fog.
Yeah, like you're just more mellowed out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but can't do I'm way less creative and like can't do good creative work.
Well, 'cause it's like a depressive.
Yeah,
it depresses your CNS, which that's another thing that is very that should be talked about more in the SCI community, is that we are getting pushed to do certain drugs that are super nervous system depressants, right? And we don't need more. I mean, some of us might, especially people who have like really bad spasms in cases, but even then it's like, do we, like we had talked about earlier, do we just suffer through the spasms and not take the CNS depressants that they prescribe, or do we take the CNS depressants that they prescribe and then compromise recovery later, right? So there's this back and forth tension, but I think that's important to, research the drugs that you're on, look to see what is the CNS depressant and what isn't, and then, find a doctor that's willing to work with you, or have a friend that's in the medical field that is knowledgeable on these things that can help you really, hone in on what is really critical that you probably really do need, and then something that is probably just, satisfying or relieving the discomfort of something that you could probably work through.
Like, what, as a pharmacist, like, what are the, what are some, not an exhaustive list since I'm putting you on the spot, but what are some like big ones that you think of right away as far as like might not be best for healing?
Gabapentin and Robaxin, so like muscle relaxers. Flexeril, that's also a muscle relaxer. Baclofen, also muscle relaxer. These all are CNS depressants. Also benzos, opioids, all CNS depressants. They really just bog your system down.
Yeah. I actually talked to a guy who runs, I was considering, when we were just moving down here, we were trying to decide whether to move to South Florida or Orlando, because there was a really good activity-paced training spot down in Pembroke Pines, just north of Miami. And I actually interviewed the guy when I tried to start a podcast ages ago, and I interviewed the guy, and I deleted the recording, and I was so ashamed. Like, I was so embarrassed and ashamed. I don't even know what I told him in the end, but the guy that owns it, his name's Guy Romain, and I asked him a question about like what he really thinks hinders spinal cord injury, and he was like the baclofen and like some of the medicines that people take. He named baclofen specifically, as like he thought it seriously hindered people's ability to walk again.
Yeah, it does, because it just depresses everything. And again, when we're trying to wake everything up, we want to decrease what we put into our system that could interfere with that response.
Yeah, and some people, baclofen's kind of the only one of all the ones you named. Lyrica, gabapentin, opioids, benzos, and muscle relaxers. Baclofen and muscle relaxers that are stopping spasms. If you have really, really, really bad spasms, like spasticity that's completely hindering your way of life, in my mind, that's the only one that you could kind of justify. You can justify the other ones, but just know that it's a justification and it is an excuse. Like it's hindering, and I've taken all of those in abundance since I've been spinal cord injured, but have taken them way less, than I wanted to. I've taken, all of them acutely, and there's been huge periods, swaths of time, like giant periods of time where I didn't take any of those things at all. And admittedly, it's only in periods of like weakness and like depressive periods where I relied on them heavily. Opiates and the nerve pain medicine, like everyone's pain's different, but I know there's people in more pain than I'm in, but I'm in maximum pain that I could imagine experiencing. I really don't know how it could get that much worse. It feels like right now, it literally feels like I'm naked, sitting on top of a stove that's on. Like that's exactly what it feels like. My asshole feels like someone just fucked it with a fire poker. Like my feet are burning and on fire. Like it's excruciatingly painful. And you just have to learn to endure it. You have to. Like, and I just got off opiates again. I just had, I could not go without them in the hospital.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. I was having such intense anxiety being trapped in a hospital bed in that much pain, not being able to move. Like, I wasn't tough enough to endure it, but I knew it was a trade-off, and I got off them as soon as I possibly could, which was, this last week was when I was finally able to cut ties, because there's no excuse for being on them. They're not chronic medications. They're acute. Use them when you absolutely can endure it, and then get off them as soon as you can. Baclofen, I've had horrible muscle spasms my whole injury. I've had to fight my legs. I've had to drag them. I've nearly, I've gotten launched onto the ground before by the spasms, and I've had to, transfer, like barely be able to transfer onto a toilet seat and fight my leg and fight the other one. And chose not to take baclofen very often when I was flying, or if I just, again, could not endure it any longer, I would take a dose. But they wanted to put me on like a baclofen pump, yeah, and have constant drip, or they wanted me to take it just constantly all day to fight these spasms. But in my mind, I still have muscle mass. I'm nearly 6 years out from injury, and my legs are only just for the first time looking not like normal legs, because, in huge part because of the spasms. So what about anything else? This is just a quick segue, because I want to cover as much as we can. What about anything else you would do on those, original days, and, in your day-to-day that you think would be of huge value to people, like get home, go to sleep, whatever? Was there anything else you were incorporating on those days that you think would be like really valuable for people to know?
Listening to really good podcasts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I mean, ones that you really find motivation, ones that are feeding those positive thought patterns. That's what I did religiously, like all the time. And then also, I mean, if you believe in a higher power, like really, like keep going back to that. Keep going back to your faith, and keep, feeding that also while feeding yourself, because, what we put into our bodies, not just nutritionally, but also mentally, right? What we consume makes a massive difference. If we're consuming a bunch of negative material, or you're, watching reality TV every single night, and you're wondering why you feel like shit. Well, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but you're not putting in what you should be putting into your brain to be able to get to the other side of whatever the fuck it is that you're going through, right? For anybody, not just spinal cord injury people. And so I think that was a big one also. Like, I would put a podcast on for, at the drive to court, because the rehab drive was, 55 minutes.
She wanted to be part of the podcast.
She did. What's up, buddy?
I couldn't agree more. I have had periods of time where Cleo. Go on. You're going to have to go lay down. No,
lay down.
I know.
Or you can sit. Sit?
No, she won't. She won't.
Okay.
She won't be you give her an inch, she takes a mile. You really can't. You
it's
can't.
Okay. She can have 10 miles.
Go on, get now. Get.
We love you.
I had a lot of time where I just didn't honor that. I naturally consumed a lot of good material, but I didn't
intentionally.
I just didn't put a lot of weight on whether or not consuming bad material was. I thought you could just consume whatever you wanted
without it having any kind of effect.
without having any real effect. And I was literally, there was like a 9-month period of time where every night before I would go to bed, I would put headphones in and I would listen to like stories about serial killers and like murder and like true crime and stuff. And
then you'd have all these fucked up dreams.
Oh yeah, fucking horrible dreams. Absolutely fucked up.
Like, why am I having all these bad dreams?
Horrible dreams. And then also just wake up like a bit sad and unmotivated and have to like work extra hard.
Yeah.
And I,
because it's like feeding your subconscious.
My ex at the time kept telling me like, that can't be good for you. Like to just like, you shouldn't listen to that before bed. Like,
yeah.
And I was just like, whatever, it doesn't matter. And as soon as I stopped doing that, immediate tremendous benefit. Like I started listening to like really good like just fiction novels about like fantasy or adventure or something. It would put me right to sleep super quickly, way faster than like listening to a story about someone that like brutally murdered their whole family and then like took their own life. Ironically, I would go to sleep faster listening to like, a novel about people fighting in space or something.
Yeah.
And then also wake up feeling much, much better. But I just only probably 2 years ago, like really started considering like what I put in my ears, like as a diet. Like,
yeah,
I need to,
we have to filter it out.
I can have little treats of like vicious, fucked up murder and like sexual abuse and stuff, but it's like a dessert.
Yeah. And it's really important. Otherwise, you're just consuming all kinds of potential garbage that is really feeding your subconscious. Mm-hmm. And then you wonder why you feel like shit.
It gave me less hope. Like I was especially listening to that really negative stuff, like just stuff about murder and serial killers and true crime. I started having like a negative outlook on just like human life and life in general without even really noticing it, because it was so gradual, because it was just my subconscious thinking about like how bad people are and all the, and so feed a diet of good podcasts and stuff. What else, anything else during that time period? And then we'll kind of fast forward to the day in the life of Elena now.
So at the 1 year mark, I got a coach. That I talked to every single week for a really, really long time. And that helped me stay in line and on track when my thoughts would start spiraling, because there was a point in time, in the first year, you really are just, at least for me, I was just, we got to get things done. I got to get here. I got to go here. I got to get this workout. I got to, you're on this like cycle, and then things start like settling in, right? The adrenaline is like settling down a little bit. And now all of the fear starts coming in, right? And now you really need somebody to talk to that is maybe outside of your circle, because your circle can be amazing and your village can do all kinds of things for you, but they also really, really love you and care about you and probably don't want to hurt your feelings, or they don't know how to navigate what it is you're going through. So let's bring an outsider in. And that's when I decided to get a coach. Shout out to Annalise, amazing. Like, she sat with me week by week and just listened to the things that I said. And then her whole thing was perspective expansion. And so she was somebody that I could really just dump all of my bullshit onto, that I didn't, I'm paying her, right? So like, I don't feel like I'm being a burden at all. And that way she could always give me, insight and really be able to help navigate what it was that I was going through. And so then I started meditating and, really sitting. I would get up early in the morning. I would go meditate. I'd sit out in the sun. I would journal. I did do a lot of journaling. I should have done more journaling, but I did what I could. And then, I hit a workout, and then I would go to the gym, or then I would go to core. So that was like every single day for a really, really long time. Probably for maybe 2.5 years, until I started feeling okay and good, where I didn't really need to do all of those things, or I didn't need to meditate every single morning. I mean, I still meditate now, but very far and few. And so I started developing these habits, and it was really just like going back to the basics of things, and, really diving deep into my faith, and, really praying and giving thanks to the things that was happening in my life, and giving thanks to the things that were going to happen. So I put an alarm on my phone that told me to remind myself every single night. I still have it. It still goes off. At 9:30 every single night, it would be, say thank you for giving me the opportunity to recover my legs, right? Like all the time. And I would, in the morning time, I would pray and I would give thanks for, thanks for giving me the chance to walk on stages later on in this life, to be able to serve people and be able to be, a conduit of you and have you work through me so that people can see what you have done, right? To be a glory of you. Like, wow, what a privilege. Thank you. So every single day, these are the things that I would do all the time. And then eventually you really start believing these things, right? And then your perspective on life and what you're going through changes, and things don't really seem that shitty, and you're just like, whoa, like this is all really purposeful and everything's aligning exactly with what I'm asking for, and it's really weird, but I am here for it,
That's awesome. I got to get back on that train because I got completely derailed off of it with these recent injuries I've had, but you've just ignited the fire in me, and just made me remember what is most important as far as the work that needs to be done. Like that fills the fuel tank up more than anything else, more than the workouts and the tasks and everything. Like that deep gratitude and everything is just it's the jet fuel to get everything else done in your life.
Yeah, it really is. And even, I stray away from it every, here and there, and I have to always go back to it. Again, the G.P.S, right? It's been, it's always falling back on the G.P.S and the gratitude perspective and service. And, and service can also be, we do serve an amazing God, and being in line with the fact that, he did give us this, awful thing that has happened and that we have to work through and go through, but he gave us this thing, and now we have a platform and we have value to bring to people, and to remind ourselves that, and encourage other people that are going through things to also share what they're going through. Because I swear, like, one person reaches out, and if you are so vulnerable in a post and one person's like, I really needed to hear that, thank you, that makes everything worth it. Because if you didn't explain or share what it was that you're going through, that person would have never have heard it, and who knows if that person would still be here. That
does make everything worth it. And I mean, it's I know that hearing that, like, on a social media post would be like the most tremendous feeling that I could ever imagine. Like, I really can't imagine anything better than someone saying that something I did or said, filled their heart with love or light or passion or anything.
And it's nice because, again, it gives purpose to the pain.
How much do you think your coach, like having a coach, not your coach specifically, like having a coach, like changed the trajectory of?
I think having somebody to talk to outside of your circle that can provide value made a world of a difference.
Were they a fitness coach?
No, she was just a mental health coach.
Like just a generalized. I don't really know about coaching. Like, I don't know. I found her on a podcast. Business coach. Like, was she like just a generalized life coach?
So it was a mental health coach, a mindset coach.
That's okay, like specifically.
Yeah.
So
cool. She.
So like a therapist, but way more helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think it does. It makes a total big difference, and because it's somebody to talk to.
Did you do therapy?
No.
Any sort? No therapy at all?
No therapy, just coaching.
I want to coach. I did like 5 or 6 months of therapy, and it was maybe 5 or 6 months probably. And it was so tremendously beneficial. It was awesome. Like,
some therapy is good.
It hit kind of a wall. Like, it was really beneficial to, I had stuff like that I had never told anyone, like literally never told another human being on earth. And I needed a fully trained fucking person to unpack some of the shit and the trauma that I needed to unpack. But once we got through all of that and the childhood stuff and like everything, it kind of just like, what are we going to do? Rehash this? Like,
Yeah.
it definitely hit like a point where I still wanted someone to like talk to and everything, but I needed them to not like, I didn't need therapy anymore, kind of
Yeah.
thing. I needed like,
So I think then that's the transition between, therapy and then getting a coach. A therapy, it helps you I think, from what I understand, I could have this totally wrong, so again, take it with a grain of salt, but from what I understand, therapy helps you work through and understand things that have happened in your life to where you now have a better understanding and are able to maybe not hold so much tension in those areas. Whereas coaching, it's not so much that I don't care about what you've gone through. I acknowledge and I see that, and now how are we going to move forward from there? So then my mind is, maybe if you really want to understand and work through all of the things, we can talk about it and we can work through it, but like, how are we going to get to the other side?
yeah.
Right? And so now I'm going to, we talk about giving actionable steps versus just rehashing and reopening the wound, just so that you can understand more and more of it. But if you understand enough, then we don't need to keep talking about it. We can now try to get to the other side of it and move forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was, I mean, my experience with therapy was that it was like slowly turning into like kind of mindset coaching, but they were always trying to approach it from that break it down therapy perspective. And my therapist was awesome. Shout out to Jackie. She's the best. Like, she was absolutely amazing. I love her to death, but and could probably benefit from like maybe seeing her once a month or something like that, or checking in every now and then and like going through some stuff. But it definitely did reach a point where it was like, I just want someone to like tell me what to do today. Like, I've hit kind of a brick wall in this thing that I'm working on, and I want like tactical help, like breaking it down and why am I not working on the things that I need to be working on? And it didn't feel to me like, maybe there are therapists out there that crush at that,
Right.
but with my relationship with my therapist, it didn't feel like that was the dynamic that was happening. So if anyone needs a coach, this is your gal. Go to link down below in the description.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. Just shoot me a direct message.
Yeah, because you're awesome. You know everything
Bridger.
about.
You are too.
I mean, I'm not good at like, I don't know, like hashing things, like mindset stuff and everything. Like, I'm good at, my own mindset stuff, but you have a really great way of like explaining it, breaking it down, and like also
thanks.
like making things actionable and usable. Like, you're definitely born to be a coach. So
Thanks. Appreciate
yeah.
that.
Well, let's go to Elena today before we wrap this thing up. Like, what is your, protocol today to, because you're going to be running, jumping, playing sports, everything eventually. So what's your protocol to get there?
Today. Well, what I'm doing currently, so I took a step back actually from rehab to try to focus on some other things in my life to be able to kind of take the pressure off of myself, to not feel like things have to be like, to just like live right now, right? Like, instead of continuously chasing. I mean, I've been going hard for 3.5 years straight. Like, I mean,
And you live an hour and a half away.
Yeah,
or
an
an
hour.
hour away from the rehab place, which is a significant journey when you got to climb in and out of a giant
But
Jeep
again, but a perspective shift. People from all over come to core, and so it's only an hour away, and so it doesn't really bother me. But it's more so of, being able to delegate time in other areas that are, so that you're still excelling elsewhere, but also still putting effort into recovery. And now that I'm putting in time elsewhere, that also adds to my recovery, right? Because I have to learn how to fill my cup up without being in rehab all the time.
Right.
Which is challenging because it's like I gotta find things to fill my time, but then we figure it out. But I still I go to the gym. For a really long time I was, I'd wake up, I'd go to the gym. Well, I'd prep all my food for the day. It's something that I always do. Especially on my long days, I pack a lunchbox. I put all my meals in there.
A giant ass lunchbox.
Yeah. Well, because you have to prepare, especially when you got goals and you're trying to fuel your body. These are just things you got to do. And yeah, it can be really annoying and frustrating and just take up a bunch of time, but it's worth it. It's always worth it. So I pack up all my shit. I go to the gym. I do round 1, usually an upper body thing. Then I eat my food in the car. Then I leave the gym. I go to core, and I was there for 3 hours. Now I'm there for 2 because I just got a Peloton, so I don't need to be on the FES bike.
Oh, very cool. You don't need the need the electrical stimulation anymore.
Yeah,
that's so sick.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Where did you get a Peloton?
One of my clients gave it to me.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
Yeah,
that's super.
Yeah,
that's
amazing.
so badass.
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you so much.
Shout out Alicia.
Yeah. So I so I do the Peloton a few times a week, and then so I go to core, and then I leave core and come home, and then I have food already prepped, so I just eat the food I had prepped, and then I just wind down for the night, and then I work on business stuff, content, things like that. And that's really what I'm doing right now, for the most part. And on days that I don't have core, I get up. Lately I've been okay with sleeping in more to just kind of focus on sleep and things like that. But which isn't past 9 o'clock really. And then, I'll go water my plants, and I'll talk to my little plant babies, and then I'll be out in the sun for a little bit. Then I'll get ready and go to the gym. Then I'll go to the sauna, and then I'll come back and I'll just work on content and business stuff for the remainder of the day. And then I'll maybe meal prep or, whatever I have to do to help me get ahead for my future self. Mm-hmm. And, that's the transition. For a while it was, grind time, just, get up, gotta go do what I gotta go do. And then the weekends was relaxing, because of just being balls to the wall 5 days a week of really nonstop work. For a second, I also go sometimes to CrossFit, and just to be around other people and build the camaraderie and, just be around some people, because I'm not really around people that much anymore.
And is it just a normal CrossFit place?
Yeah.
No, not an adaptive place at all?
Mm-mm. So they work with me and we figure out stuff, and it's fun for them because they get to make it really hard for me if they really want to. Mm-hmm. And then they learn a lot too. And yeah, so shout out to New Smyrna CrossFit. They're amazing.
CrossFit places must be just really badass for doing that, because I know multiple paralyzed people from different cities that go to CrossFit places that aren't for that aren't adaptive or anything, and are able to work out there, and they make it happen. So yeah. Go CrossFit.
Yeah. I mean, there's just such open space, so there's not a bunch of equipment everywhere, so it's really easy to maneuver and be able, and then people are there to help. There's coaches and stuff that can spot you and can help facilitate the movements if needed. Mm-hmm. So that's the things that I'm doing now. Like I said, taking a step back and just kind of trying to get back into more of a parasympathetic state versus running on high for a very long time.
Yeah. That's super awesome. I mean, that's you gotta all the pillars of the whatever Colosseum. I don't know what I was gonna say, one of those Greek building things that just stands with the pillars, but I don't know what it's called. I had the name inside my head, and it just gone. But you have to have all the pillars to hold it up, all the different pillars of health and wellness, but also really just the normal life pillars as well.
Yeah. And really the pillars are just the basics. It's, get some sun, move your body, give some gratitude, and eat some good food, and love your God,
Mm-hmm. And there's lots of accoutrements you can add on there to to feel better, I like my infrared sauna. I like red light therapy. I want to get hopefully like a pulsed electromagnetic field mat.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's something like, I guess what would, if you had like, so just talking for the sake of, you know, what's the maximum way you can heal, you know, spinal or neurological injury of any sort. If you had like $250,000, like this is, you're only allowed to use this for healing and like healing adjacent things, what would you do with it? Like what would be your like protocol for the next year in an ideal scenario? And like what's the things that you think would have the biggest impact?
I think peptides.
Mm-hmm.
I think getting with either somebody that's already done it and knows what they're doing, or getting a functional medicine doctor that really really thinks outside the box and wants to help. Right? I mean, the majority do, but you know what I mean when I say that. Mm-hmm. And then I think ABT training. I think that's a big one. If you're able to get there 4 days a week, if you're able to go through the discomfort of even going 5 days a week, I mean, I think you should. I think that you should go balls to the wall for as long as you can, as hard as you can, until you can't, right? And then when you say that you can't, then keep going, right? So I think those three things are definitely top priority. And then, let's see. I mean, that could be, not that would be $250,000, but I would get.
You've got a lot of money left over.
Yeah, you still have a lot of money left over. I would do. If you don't want to cook your food and you don't want to, deal with all of that, find a meal prep company that you can get all your food from.
That's smart.
Yeah, that would do that. Factor Meals is good. You probably have a local one around that, locals are doing. That's also a good way. I did that for a really long time. I still do it every once in a while. And then, let's see.
Saves you so much time. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
None of the meal prep company. My diet's so specific. None of the meal prep companies can cater to me unless I just eat like 2 meals.
I know.
Or spend a ton of money custom.
That's true.
Custom chefing it.
Yeah, get your own private chef. Maybe one day. Yeah.
Yeah. No, dude, a private chef and a private masseuse is like.
Yeah.
Someone if I have someone clean, cook, and massage on like not like a partner ever would. Like I want it on tap all the time. Mm-hmm. Like that would be my priority with. Like I would sacrifice the size of my house and like luxury cars and all that sort of stuff to have those things first if I started making a ton of money. Yeah.
I mean, then you said massage. I think also getting body work done. So like recovery aspects of if you can find somebody that does really good body work, and meaning massage or like Graston, things that like sports massages, people that really know how to do really good body work to help like keep your muscles, alive and well and healthy.
Yeah, Graston's awesome.
Yeah.
Cupping's really helped a couple of injury. It's like, it's not good for everything, but I think doing that, like the cup moving over the top of your tissue, that definitely makes my back and everything, it just relaxes everything. It makes it feel like it's almost like your muscles took a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it's true. And then I think chiropractic care is also super important. So finding a chiro that you really are, click with and that is there to help you and is okay with, testing and seeing what they can do as far as adjustments and stuff. And then there's also different kinds of chiropractors. I have some friends that their approach is through BGI, which is biogeometric integration, and essentially when the shit happens to us, our body stores all that trauma, and when it stores that trauma, these disconnects happen, and the way that they approach it is by finding those disconnects and helping you really move through them so that your system can run freely instead of feeling blocked, and to where now if you are in a very sympathetic state and always running high with a bunch of adrenaline and stuff, potentially this way of chirocare can help you clear out a lot to where now you're more parasympathetic and allows your body's really, God-given innate to be able to start working and healing, because that's what's also really important. So being able to find chirocare that suits you and you're able to get, again, body work done. I think that's also super important.
I've had a really bad experience with chiropractors.
Really?
I've never.
All my best friends are chiros.
Well, I would love to meet them and pay them for their services if they're good at it, because
they're amazing.
I've never had a great experience with it. I had one before I was injured where like my back was literally out. Ooh. Or something was off, and he adjusted me, and like it was immediate relief. And the next morning, like I couldn't even stand up straight. Like I was like hunched over. Like I injured it at work doing construction in Australia, and this guy just like fixed it. But other than that, every one I go to, it's kind of like a little bit gimmicky, like with the things they're doing, and then they tell you like, oh, they do something to you for 5 minutes or 15 minutes, and they're like, you just need to come back 4 times a week for like 8 weeks, and it's $65 per time or $80, whatever it is, and it's like, you're gonna charge me $80 for 15 minutes? I'd way rather go get a massage. I don't care if it's less beneficial than what you're doing. I want it just seems like a bit of a ripoff. And that's just my experience. The guys that I've seen, they seemed pretty gimmicky, so I don't think it's an accurate representation of chiropractors as a whole. But yeah, it just seems like you have $250,000 for this scenario, but it has seemed like I just have it not worth the money yet for me. I just haven't found one yet.
Yeah. Again, it's like finding... It's like a puzzle, right? Whatever puzzle piece fits.
Yeah, I knew a really good animal chiropractor when I was a kid, and he was like a genius, and like I watched him like change the lives of like so many animals. He unparalyzed my grandma's dog. It was legitimately like...
They call it when you got paralyzed, like, hey!
Yeah, get down here.
Yeah.
I know you did that to a miniature pincer, but want to take a shot at
right.
Shot at me.
I think also, so back to the $250,000, I think an FES bike. I think buying
Definitely.
an FES bike and having that every single day for 30, 45 minutes every single day. And then actually, you know what? You should just, on top of that, get a New X. Shout out to Scott at New X.
New X, that's one of the like little white and blue boxes they have at Core.
Can you
explain to people that have no idea what that is?
Yeah, so a New X is an electric stimulation device, and it has different frequencies on it that either penetrate the muscle deeper or similar to how it is in the FES bike. But it's either connecting the nervous system to where you're able to involuntarily move muscles, or it really helps facilitate muscle contractions where it's like helping you voluntarily move the muscle. So you can put pads on different places, and it can get up to like 4 leads, which ends up being 8 leads, so you can really send your body, send a bunch of electric signals all throughout your body to where it actually was created to help performance athletes be able to facilitate muscle contractions and help strengthen muscles in ways that normal activity couldn't. So I think it's an awesome, super awesome modality.
Go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down. Go on. I know. We'll go play afterwards. Go lay down. Go. Get.
So I think that I think that's also, especially if like to have it outside of rehab and stuff. Find a place that has it. But if you want to use it outside, or if you're like me, like if I had it, I would be using it at the gym and, just having it on my legs and doing things.
Well, it's super hard. A spinal cord injury is such an expensive injury to try to heal. It really is.
Yeah,
I mean, a new X is what, like 11, 12 grand or something like that. FES bike, mine that I have, Myocycle, it was like 10 grand, I think, around there. And then for
the actual FES, the one at Core, the RTI, that was like 25.
Yeah.
When I was looking at
it. Yeah,
it.
the Myocycle is way cheaper, but it can only do it has vastly less settings.
Yeah.
And it can only do 3 muscle groups per leg at a time. Oh. Where like those RTX ones or whatever they're called, like they can do
4, I think.
Well, I think they can do. Can't they do more than that? Because they can do quad stuff too.
Yeah. You're right. They can do up.
They can do a lot.
To 6 on each one.
And they have like way more settings.
12.
This one's 12. Super basic, but it's done the trick for me.
Yeah.
I've done it nearly every single. This is the first time ever since being spinal cord injured that I have gone a huge period of time without using it at all. It's because it's broken femurs.
Yeah, I know, which that's rough.
But I should be. I mean, I'm still using it. Actually, I'm still laying on the couch.
You're just laying on the bed to get because it helps with circulation.
And it's still shocking my legs, and I still think it's tremendously beneficial for maintaining muscle mass and circulation through the body. But here, let's just do this now, and then we'll wrap up kind of soon. We'll wrap up before the 25 minutes.
Yeah.